Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Josh RANTS podcast and our first ever winter solstice holiday special, everyone. I'm really feeling the winter solstice spirit, aren't you? Get yourself a cup of, what, snow? What do you do? What do you do during the winter solstice? Anyway, let's take a look at what's in Santa's bag of fun this time around. Oh joy! Cyberpunk 2077 launch troubles, the McRib, and where the fuck is our stimulus check? So let's take a look. Cyberpunk 2077, everybody. A huge game originally announced, I think, like 7 or 8 years ago. And now it just recently launched. December 9th, I believe, was the final release date. The game had been delayed, like, I think 4 times previously. To put that little polish, you know how developers talk, publishers. We got to put that extra little polish on there. Get that CD Projekt Red touch. Well, let me tell you, this is the CD Projekt Red touch. That's like the Michael Jackson touch. Get the fuck away. This is not good. This game launched in an absolutely abysmal state. Like, seriously, like every version of the game is plagued by bugs. Some versions are worse than others. Like, if you've got a last-gen console, an Xbox One or a PS4... don't even bother, guys. Like, it is the worst. And then even if you try and play that game, the PS4 version on the PS5, because there's no native PS5 version right now, or if you try to play on the Xbox Series X or even PC, you're still going to run into a lot of problems. Really a bit of a mess. It's a shit show. Let's just be honest. It's a shit show. And what's interesting is this is just another game in a long line of high-profile games that have either been flops or just on day one, just absolute technical nightmares. I think everybody's going to remember Fallout 76. I'm a big Fallout fan myself, but I got to tell you, man, sometimes you don't need to bite into a shit sandwich to know it's going to taste bad. So I actually sat that one out from the beginning, but I know when it launched, it was just terrible. Nothing worked. Online issues, inventory issues, players hacking the game, players losing save files, players losing things. Every possible thing that you could imagine that would go wrong did go wrong. And the best part is, like, that just kept going for months and months. I remember people were getting screwed over with pre-order bonuses. People were getting gouged. They introduced that paid service. Anthem was trash. EA was striving to make, quote, the Bob Dylan of video games. Hello, everyone. We're going to make the Bob Dylan of video games. What the fuck does that mean? Like, some timeless classic thing? Like, is that the idea? Some classic touchstone in video game history? Well, look where the fuck that got us, guys. This is nothing new. Look at No Man's Sky. Look at No Man's Sky. That launched as a shit show. Half the features that were mentioned and hyped up for ages to the moon and back just weren't in the frigging game. To Hello Games' credit, it seems like now they have kind of filled in that empty game world with a lot more to do, and they've kind of, fulfilled some of their promises. I haven't gone back. I played it when it launched for about 30 hours, got pissed off, sold the game. I haven't looked back since, but now I might come back. But think about this. This is like, how many years later is No Man's Sky finally becoming the game it should be? And on top of that, I've had experiences with games that have fallen short. At Fallout 4, I think I got about 15 to 20 hours into the game, and I encountered a game-breaking glitch where I walked into Diamond City and one of the security officers is shooting someone, a thief, I guess. The problem is, he just keeps pumping round after round after round into this corpse with the entire town surrounding him, watching this happen. You can't buy anything. You can't talk to anybody. You can't get the missions you need to do. You can't redeem things. The game was essentially broken because I needed Diamond City at this juncture in the game. And I gotta tell you, I came back for more. And that brings me to my question, what is too much? How much will gamers accept? At what point do gamers cry foul and say, no, this is just too fucking broken? I got to tell you right now, from what I'm seeing online, it seems like Cyberpunk 2077 might be that watershed moment. I mean, we're talking about Sony, who's very infamous for really being stingy with refunds. Like, it's next to impossible to get a refund for a PS4 game, generally speaking. Sony, there was a little bit of back and forth early on, but eventually Sony did settle on, we're taking the game off of PlayStation Network, and everybody's going to get a refund. Microsoft, they just took the tact of, if you want a refund, you get a refund. This is a little bit unprecedented. I don't remember any game in the history of at least this last generation actually being pulled off the store because it's so glitchy and so bad. But right now I can't think of anything. So that's really a turning point. CD Projekt Red, of course, the developer and publisher of the game, they took a bit of a hit in terms of public image. That's for sure. And apparently their stocks have dipped at least a little bit, last I heard. I haven't checked back on that. I'm not sure where that now. Maybe they'll bounce back. Who knows? I don't know anything about stocks. Who the fuck knows? This has damaged CD Projekt Red, but here's the thing you got to remember. On day one of that game having released, they recouped all of their development costs as well as all of their marketing costs. It was all covered, boom, immediately. In theory, basically, all the money they make now after December 9th, essentially, is profit. And they sold about 13 million copies. Now, of course, analysts have said this too, and I'm going to say this too, is they're probably not selling nearly as many as they could have. Because there are a lot of wait-and-see people like me. I was someone who was going to wait and see because I'm not stupid, Like I said, I played Fallout 4. I had problems with that. I had problems with Fallout 3's DLC. Glitches with Mass Effect. Mass Effect Andromeda I played. That's another game I should have mentioned before that there was a high-profile glitchy disaster. So, I've played enough of these messes to know a game of this size, a game of this level of hype, this scope and this size is going to have some glitches. I think it's reasonable to assume that. In fact, I think it would be unreasonable to expect the game to not have any kind of problems. But what's the limit? Like I said before, what is the limit? What is acceptable? How should we view these games when they're released? See, the thing is, every time you see a trailer for a game and stuff, when I saw a trailer for Anthem, they talked about it being a live service. They talked about it continually growing, but they really did sell it as, you pay your $60 and you're going to get a full game, but also we're going to add on to it. We're going to continue with it. They never said you're paying $60 for this half-baked thing. Maybe we'll fill in the blanks later. No, they're marketing it as a full experience. It'd be one thing if at least the publisher said, hey, you're getting in at the ground floor and we're building the game slowly because it's such a, maybe it's a massive online world, whatever, right? But they don't do that. They never do that. They never sell you anything that's negative or you're buying in on potential, or this is a springboard. No, they never do that. The marketing is always very clear. You're going to have access to this. You're going to get this. This is going to be ready. This is going to be here. And then we'll have more on top of that. But first, you're going to get this full experience. And that's just not what we're getting anymore. I almost wonder if publishers know this, and it's like a calculated thing. Like there's this thing in certain industries, I think it's the airline industry I heard, called calculated misery, where they actually do the math and they kind of do the reports and studies and they figure out just how much bullshit people will deal with. How fucked up is that? These companies, instead of putting money and investing money to just make their company better and make the customer's experience better, no, they just figure they spend that money to figure out how much shit they can get away with. And maybe that is more profitable in the long run. It probably is, because I'm sure they did a fucking cost-benefit analysis on that. But here's the thing, like, I'm starting to wonder, like, are game publishers doing that now? Like, you look at what happened with Bethesda and Fallout 76, and the way they just seem to not give a shit about anything. I'm kind of getting a little bit of a feeling with that with Cyberpunk, is that they knew this was going to be fucked up. At some point, after the third delay, maybe they said, we're just not going to be able to do this, and the game has to release. I understand that they're in a tight position. They have to release the game. You can't keep delaying the thing. There's contracts, there's promotions, there's all kinds of plans. Every time you push it back, it's problematic. I get it. But on the flip side of that, you release this fucking game that's supposed to be the next coming of video game Christ over here, and it's literally unplayable. It's not just it's okay, or it's not that great or anything. It's literally unplayable for a lot of people. Like, you can go online and find montages of all kinds of glitches, of textures loading in late, cars falling from the sky. People just walking through walls. And some of it's not just visual stuff. A lot of it is game-breaking stuff along there, too. So, yeah, gamers, you guys bought into the hype. You guys bought into a bunch of trailers and a series of very, very carefully crafted playthroughs of gameplay. Reviewers had an embargo. They couldn't use their own footage of the game experience for their review. If they wanted to get that day one review, that very coveted IGN review. They want that day one review. They can't review this game 3 days later because everybody else is going to scoop them. So I get it. So they agree to these ridiculous stipulations like you can only play the PC version. You can only play it for this many hours. You can't talk about certain elements of the plot, and you can't show your own footage that you captured yourself. A few days later, after we start seeing how much of a garbage dump this game is, you realize how fucking dirty that is. You know what? When EA released Anthem, I gotta give them credit. They released the game, and they had it available for their EA, what is it called? EA All Access, their stupid subscription service. You could play the game, I think it was a week early, and Anthem was garbage. But EA said, hey, well, we're just going to put the game out there, and, it's garbage, and here it is. But at least they didn't try to hide it. You know what I mean? As far as I know, there weren't any real review embargoes. They didn't try and cover up anything. They weren't DMCA takedowning people on YouTube. As far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, as far as I know, EA just bit the bullet and went with it, so I got to give them credit on that. But CD Projekt Red, they're supposed to be the good guys. They got all this goodwill with their last game, The Witcher 3, which, full disclosure, I have not played. Fantasy's not my bag. I'm not a Skyrim guy. I'm a Fallout guy. I'm not a Witcher guy. I would be a Cyberpunk guy, theoretically. They're supposed to be the good guys. Just like I feel like happened with Bethesda. They built up all this goodwill with fans, and it's like they decided, okay, we got 10 million goodwill credits with the fans. We're going to cash in. This botched launch is going to cost us about 7 million goodwills, and then a couple more million goodwills for all the fuck-ups that are going to happen down the line. It's so weird. It comes back to this calculated misery thing I was talking about. Like, did they calculate it? They just said, well, the game's going to be garbage, so we're going to lock down the reviews, at least, get that. Once the cat's out of the bag, then, oh well, but at least we'll get that big sales boost on day one before anybody's able to really see reviews, before the reviews get out. Like, they're really trying to cut people off at the pass here, and that's fucking dirty. Shame on you, CD Projekt Red.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
I used to believe like there are certain companies that they're the good guys. They're a big company, but they care about us gamers and this and that. Like id or Valve or whoever. And I think this just goes to show you can't trust anybody. You see a game 9 years ago or whatever it was. First of all, why the hell are you showing me this game 9 years in advance? Like literally, what are you going to show me, a logo? That's what they do now. They show you a logo. And then you get the fanboys, they all run out there and they pre-order this shit. And that's why you end up selling 13 million copies of this 4.0 game. And it's unplayable, but they already made their money because you guys are willing to lap it up. And I used to be like this. I get it. You don't, the FOMO, fear of missing out. You don't want that. Especially if you're in a community of other gamers, you don't want to be the one guy in your group that doesn't have a new game. Right? South Park had talked about this in several seasons ago. Is like, what system are we getting, guys? Are we getting the Xbox? Or are we getting the PlayStation? Because we got to play online together. And what are my friends doing? Well, I got to be together with these guys. So you end up pre-ordering this game. They end up making their money. You end up getting a pile of crap and maybe an apology. Obviously CD Projekt Red apologized. Oh, we are so sorry. And, oh, we're sorry we didn't let reviewers show their own footage. Oh, gee whiz. Oh, shucks. No explanation why. Just, oh, we're sorry that happened. Oh, well, as he, sits on the throne of money. They knew this was coming and they went with it, and gamers seemed perfectly content to lap it up. And hey, here's the thing. I'll admit it. Ages ago when Fallout 4 was coming out, I'd known about glitchiness of Bethesda games. That's just the thing. I said famously on somebody's comment on Facebook, I said something like, I'm fully prepared to lose 100 hours in this game to a game-breaking bug as long as I had fun. Do I still feel that way? I don't even know. I might not. I had fun. I only lost 15, 20 hours to the game-breaking bug, so I guess I came out on top. That's an attitude that nowadays I consider silly. It's like my time is just, I don't have time to piss away to restart a game and go back 20 fucking hours. I just don't want to do that, even if the game's fun. Maybe I've evolved on the topic, or I've just changed my mind, or I'm just not as hardcore and elite of a gamer as I used to be, Maybe that's what we need. We need a bunch of people to stand up and say, no, I'm willing to wait a few days to play this game. I remember ages ago, I decided on a whim, I had not pre-ordered it, I just decided on a whim I was going to pick up Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, PS4. Incredible game. But my thing was, I just walked to GameStop the day of release, walked in, said, I'd like a copy of MGS5, PS4, please. the guy behind the counter is like, okay, yeah, did you pre-order? No, I did not pre-order. And this is GameStop, keep in mind. So, how, if you've ever been inside GameStop, they create this weird dystopian world where if you don't have the game on day one, your dick's going to fall off or something. And so the guy's like, oh, hey, whoa, hey, I don't know if we got copies here. I mean, if you didn't pre-order, man, shit. Whew, it's hot in here, right? You didn't pre-order, man. This is you're in the danger zone, And I'm just like, yeah, right. I'm, one of the biggest games, one of the most anticipated games from one of the biggest games franchises. You're gonna tell me you're not gonna have enough copies that I would have absolutely needed to have pre-ordered. This wasn't some obscure game. This wasn't like Illbleed on the Dreamcast back in the day or something where you gotta, we're gonna get 2 copies and that's it. No, we're talking about a big game. So they create this crazy, this alternate reality of like where you have to get this game or otherwise you're going to die. And, he goes back and he's just, he comes back. He's like, okay, well, I still have some copies left. And I'm sure he went in back and there was like a crate of fucking copies standing there. I'm sure of it. But he's like, yeah, well, I had a few copies left. So you're lucky. But, next time, what if I didn't have any copies and you didn't pre-order? Oh no! And so I looked at him. I was like, well, I'd wait. I can wait a few days. I can wait a week. I got plenty of other things going on. As much as I do love Metal Gear Solid, I love me some Kojima craziness. I could wait. I don't need that right now. I can wait. It's just a video game, guys. And I think more people need to realize that it's just a video game. I know you've been looking forward to this for 9 years when they announced it. They announced it fucking at the Big Bang or something. You've been waiting your whole damn life for this game. I get it. I get the excitement. I get it. I know you want to have it in your hot little hands because you've been counting the days. But can we just take a step back? Just wait a day. Nobody's going to, CD Projekt Red's not going to go bankrupt, if everybody bought the game on day 2. You have a choice. You have a choice to either plunk down your hard-earned cash on a game that's probably not going to work, or you can, unless you want to get a super-duper deluxe special edition version of the game, I understand that. Unless you're trying to do that, you don't need to pre-order games. Like, you can go to any number of places and get your game, probably on day 1 if you really want, or just like I said, just wait a little bit and get it a little later. Just saying, guys. So what's next on the docket? Oh, the McRib, everybody. Oh, introduced in 1981 by the McDonald's Corporation, mostly made of pork shoulder. It's a cosmetic rib-shaped patty, but it's like a cartoon rib. It's very strange. It's got these little bumpy sides that are supposed to simulate bones, I guess. It's weird. Like when you break it down, it's kind of weird. Anyway, and then that pork shoulder patty is smothered in barbecue sauce, pickles, and I always hold the onions. And then that is then put on a hoagie. And this hoagie, this bun, this wonderful bread, contains the same chemical used in gym mats to make them spongy. I'm not kidding. Look that up. The McRib is delicious. It is probably the perfect amalgamation of technology, corporate greed, and just food creation, all coming together in this unholy beast of just, it's so bad good. It's probably shortened my life by about 17 minutes, but I don't fucking care. It's just too good. It's too good to... And you can't eat just one. You got to eat like 6 at a time. And so what you do is you get yourself into the on-hold queue for the EMTs, and then you start eating your third one. And by the time you're in cardiac arrest, the EMTs are probably showing up right then and there. You got to think ahead, guys. So it's a sandwich that's bad for you. It's not what it appears to be. It's a complete fraud. It's not satisfying. It's not good. So as far as I'm concerned, honestly, the McRib, it's kind of the sandwich of 2020. The more I think about it, the more I think that the McRib is kind of the official sandwich of 2020. So hey guys, where the fuck's my COVID-19 relief? Huh? I want to talk about this because, it's the big thing. It's that big hot button issue. It's the thing that I'm most pissed off about right now, in politics at least. Like, my problem is anything I could say about this topic, like, I feel like other people have already said. We already know what the hell's going on. So Congress was working on this terrible relief package that was going to give every American, a whopping $600. Oh, whoop-de-friggin' do. To bring up the total COVID aid that Americans have received since this whole thing started to a mere $1,800. Meanwhile, in Canada, as you might know, as soon as this whole COVID thing started, they started getting $2,000 a month just basically straight off the bat. No questions asked, just boom, let's help our citizens. Boom, here you go. Meanwhile, here, we're fucking people are struggling. So many people are out of work, and Congress keeps going on fucking vacation. Or they keep making sure that the corporations are taken care of. Disgusting people like Mitch McDonald blocking this. This is a clear-cut case of literally the Republicans blocking. So here we have a weird case where in a very uncharacteristic, almost suspicious, not even almost suspicious, it is suspicious. You hear Donald Trump saying something about actually wanting to do something to help Americans and actually calling for something to help Americans, you really have to wonder what the hell's going on here. So Donald Trump has decided, no, $600 is not enough. He's demanding $2,000 for every American. Great, said the Democrats. Pelosi and Schumer are like, yeah, let's do this thing. Okay, $2,000, sure, that's it's terrific. So, of course, the Republicans have to block this because, you can't help Americans. They're not here to help Americans. Republicans are not here to help Americans. They're here to fuck over Americans. They're here to help corporations and their own interests. That's it. I'm always going to say that because it's fucking true. And there are apparently some people out there who will still go out there and say, Democrats suck just as much. You're a fucking idiot. If you believe the Democrats suck just as much as Republicans, as they're just as dangerous, just as problematic, you have not been paying any attention, or if you are, you're just a bad actor. If you think the Democrats are on the same level of awfulness as Republicans, I don't know what the fuck news you're watching. I don't know what... You're probably watching Fox News, honestly. But I don't know what the fuck to tell you. I mean, really, don't give me that shit. Oh, both sides suck. Both parties suck. I'll admit, the Democrats are weak as hell. You got these establishment Democrats, these do-nothing clods. Yeah, it's true. But when you compare these to what Republicans do or Republicans don't do or Republicans block, come on, guys. It's no comparison. I do not love the Democratic Party. But right now, they're our last best chance at getting something going. They're trying their best, as crappy as it is. The Dems are trying to get us some kind of COVID relief for people who really are desperate. I'm luckily in a position where, I'm able to have internet and electricity and a PC and recording equipment to do this, to do some frivolous little podcasts. That's the kind of privilege that I have. But there are people out there who don't have two sticks to rub together. And we got a government who just cannot be bothered to help the American people. And in this particular case, what we're seeing right here is literally one party fucking it up for everybody else. Trouble is, half the time you turn on MSNBC, you turn on CNN, you get these anchors, they're at least trying to give the appearance of neutrality. Because, God fucking forbid, you tell the truth and you piss off your right-wing viewers. At some point, you need to say, no, it's not both parties refusing to budge, both parties blah, blah, blah. No, at some point you say, hey, it's this party. It's these fucking assholes right here. At some point, you got to stand up and say, yeah, Republicans fucking suck. And this is a clear-cut case of it. But you know what the worst part is? You get these hardcore Republicans, especially Trumpists, of course. They don't live in our reality, man. They're not here with us. They're going to see that from a CNN. That's fake news. It's clearly the Democrats, the libtards, the Democrats trying to do it. Trump's trying to fight the deep state, and George Soros is killing kids on Pedophile Island and Pizza Place. All this crazy nonsense. So don't you ever fucking tell me it's both parties. Get the fuck out of here. Really, get the fuck out of here. Them suck, yeah, but they suck way less than Republicans. I don't know what else to say. Like I said, we all know the story. We all know the song and dance. Our elected officials, our representatives don't represent us. You got people in Congress like Nancy Pelosi. She's worth $114 million. Do you think she gives a shit about $600? I don't doubt that she wants to pass something, but is she really that invested? Is she really fighting for us? Or is she just, in her cushy establishment role, just going through the motions, making things look good, tweeting out the right things, just get reelected to continue being in power, but not really fighting for it? She's not angry. You look at other countries, you see politicians sometimes getting in fistfights with other politicians. You see people yelling, pounding their shoe on the desk, yelling in foreign languages. And we as Americans look at this and say, wow, these guys are really crazy. They're really fired up. What's the deal here? The deal is they give a shit. The deal is they give a shit about what is going on. They actually care about what's happening in their world of politics. They actually care about their constituents. And when someone's being a dickhead or they disagree with something, right or wrong, whatever it is, they'll get fired up. They're passionate about it because they're politicians and they feel like politicians actually have to do their fucking job. Whereas in America, it's basically a rich person's playground. And politicians are basically just there to make sure it stays, for the most part, a rich person's playground. But the ones doing it the most are always going to be the Republicans. Look at the numbers. Look at the facts. Look at the way they vote. So here's hoping that maybe we can just tiptoe back to $600 because apparently that's all life of American is worth these days. It's $600. But here's the good news, folks. If we get that stimulus check, $600, I did the math. You could buy 147 McRibs with that kind of money. Now that is the American dream right there. Good night, everybody.